Jesus Christ being baptized even without sin is one of the deepest truths in the Christian story because it shows something far beyond repentance. It reveals purpose, identity, and divine alignment. Baptism, in its simplest human understanding, was associated with cleansing, turning away from sin, and preparing the heart for God. So naturally, the question arises, why would someone who Christians believe lived without sin step into a ritual meant for sinners? The answer is not found in need, but in intention. Jesus did not enter the water to be made clean. He entered it to redefine what the water means. His baptism was not about transformation from sin to purity, but about the revelation of a mission that would transform humanity itself. In that moment, he willingly stepped into the same line as broken humanity, not as one of them in guilt, but as one of them in solidarity. It is a powerful expression of humility because it shows a choice to stand where imperfect people stand, even without belonging there by fault. This act becomes even more meaningful when you realize that his entire life was centered on identification with humanity, sharing their hunger, their grief, their temptation, and ultimately their suffering. His baptism also marked a transition point. It was the public beginning of his mission. Before that moment, he lived quietly. After it, his ministry of teaching, healing, and confronting injustice begins to unfold. It is as if the baptism was a declaration in physical form that the time had come for his purpose to be revealed. In Christian belief, something profound happens at that moment. The heavens open, the Spirit of God descends, and a divine voice confirms him. This is not just symbolism. It communicates approval, identity, and commissioning. It is the public unveiling of who he is and why he has come. Another deep layer is that his baptism foreshadows what he would later accomplish. If baptism represents death to the old life and rising into a new one, then Jesus entering the water becomes a symbolic preview of his future death and resurrection. He goes down into the water and comes back up, pointing toward the idea that through his later sacrifice and resurrection, humanity itself would be offered a way to rise into new life. In this sense, his baptism is not about personal cleansing but about prophetic meaning. It is a living message acted out before the greater event unfolds. It also carries the weight of obedience. Even though he is described as sinless, he chooses to fulfill what is considered righteous in the eyes of God. This shows that righteousness is not only about correcting wrongdoing but also about aligning completely with divine will. His willingness to be baptized teaches that obedience sometimes means stepping into practices not because one needs them for correction, but because they carry purpose in God's plan. There is also a human lesson embedded in it. Many people feel unworthy or think spiritual practices are only for those who are clean enough. His baptism challenges that thinking by showing that spiritual steps are not about pride or perfection but about direction. If someone without sin still chose baptism, then no one should feel too far gone or too unworthy to approach God. It reshapes the meaning from exclusion to invitation. So his baptism is not a contradiction. It is a message layered with meaning. It speaks of humility without guilt, obedience without correction, identity without confusion, and purpose without delay. It is one of those moments where action carries deeper truth than explanation. And at its core, it shows that the beginning of his public life was not marked by power or display, but by quiet submission to a divine plan that would later change the course of human belief.